Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumper from msdynamicsworld.com, and we're here for a session all about upgrading AX to Dynamics 365. Our presenter today is Ajmal from Sonata Software, and it's great to have Ajmal back. As we get started today, please know that we have a couple ways to keep today's session interactive. There is a Q&A that you should see to the right of the main presentation area. If you don't, look for the question mark icon in the upper right. That would enable Q&A for you, and you can enter questions at any time throughout the session. I know Ajmal will be leaving time at the end for those. We'll also aim to keep it interactive by asking you a couple poll questions just to better understand you and your perspective. I'm actually going to open the first of those now just as to get things started as we begin. So please do take just a moment to click on those answers, and we'll be just using that to help guide today's event. So without any further delay, I'm going to hand things off to Ajmal to help us begin.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Jason, for a quick introduction. So welcome you all again to this session on upgrading to Dynamics 365. Today, as part of the agenda, we will cover why Dynamics 365 for finance and operations is a game changer. We will look at what are the new features and capabilities this brings to table, and why it should be on your top choice while you are looking at replacing some of your legacy systems or upgrading from your earlier versions of Dynamics. We will also look at how you should go about planning for this upgrade because ERP upgrade is a very daunting task, and it requires a lot of internal change management and all of that. So we will look through the path for a risk-free upgrade. Apart from that, we will look finally how do you strategize the upgrade, how to get the bang for the buck so that you can operationalize the ERP and reap benefits from this upgrade. So without further delay, let's get into the upgrade session. Some of the key takeaways from this session is you understand the power of Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. We will look through how Dynamics 365 for finance and operations will help you in your transformation journey. We'll also help define a clear risk-free accelerated upgrade path so that you can maximize your time to market while still leveraging your current investments if you have already made earlier. Before we get started on the topics for the day, I just want to quickly introduce who we are. So we are Sonata is a software services and solutions company with global presence. So we are a strong team of about 3,500 people with a revenue of about 330 plus million dollars. We work with Fortune 500 companies and have been technology partners for several years with the major principals. We are also recognized by our principals for various competencies and services that we offer to our customers, and we are a listed company. What we do is we work with our customers in building solutions for the transformation journey that you or your customers embark on. So we do this transformation. We define this transformation journey in three phases. The first phase could be industrialization, where you start with some app rationalization or modernization of your existing legacy applications. The second phase could be a transformation, where you improve the customer engagement, where you bring in smart operations into your business processes. and you uh, put forth a digital infrastructure for your operations. The third could be third phase could be through platformation, where you build digital industry platforms, uh, where you have a uh, elastic platform which can scale, which is open, which is integrated, uh, and this platform is available for you to collaborate with your employees, with your customers, and with your vendors. So now let's look at why you should consider upgrading to Dynamics 365. So if you look at, there has been a lot of disruption uh, in the technology landscape. So there's cloud adoption has been continuously growing, and a lot of organizations have started adopting cloud for their business applications. Uh, and again, in today with mobility, with social network, the way we interact with our customers, with our employees, uh, with our vendors and other stakeholders has been significantly transformed. Today, the customer connects in various ways with an enterprise. Similarly, vendors and also employees are connected in multiple ways with the organization. So in an era where mobile has transformed and social media has transformed how we have connected, and also the operations with the manufacturing operations have been transforming with Internet of Things, where you have embedded devices which are smart, which provide real-time information to your operations. With these technology disruptions and innovations, we see that there has been significant transformation in the business models itself. Today, a lot of companies and enterprises are looking at how they can uh, better serve their customers, how they can connect with their customers. They are offering their products and services in much new ways. So they are offering in different business models these services. Overall, again, the productivity is critical to business and scale, and it is very also important that your platform you choose for your business operations is highly scalable to enable this agility in the business. So if you look at Microsoft Dynamics platform, so there has been a lot of significant change in the product in terms of how the product has evolved from its previous versions, and how Dynamics 365 can help power your business and differentiate your business. So among the top 5 reasons why you should move to Dynamics 365 is Microsoft Dynamics 365 provides a modern, intelligent platform to run your business operations by engaging your customers better, empowering your employees, and also optimizing your operations. Apart from that, the product is available on cloud. So you eliminate the cost, the infrastructure and hardware costs, and it is flexible and scalable platform with leveraging the elasticity of cloud. Apart from that, it is integrated with the office productivity tools, so which provides a better collaborative environment for your employees to work. Apart from that, it brings in a lot of operational capabilities and industry processes within the product, so that you can leverage a lot of business functions as part of the standard product. Data and intelligence is built in, so that there is an embedded business intelligence in the application itself, which can be leveraged and which can result in which can provide you actionable insights into your operations. So let's look at a few quick changes, new changes which are part of the Dynamics 365 platform. So the first one is the new user interface. So Dynamics 365 provides a new rich user interface which is web-based, uh, and also it enhances the experience of the user through personalized workspaces and dashboards. So there are a lot of workspaces for different roles available today in Dynamics 365, catering to the key activities specific to those roles. Apart from that, these workspaces provide intelligence insights into the operations because there are Power BI, embedded Power BI within the solution or within these workspaces, which provide insights into your business. Apart from that, you can extend this further with Power BI content packs and Cortana analytics and machine learning, so that you can take better decisions in your business. So what this brings is what this brings is typically it increases the productivity of users. It helps them reimagine business with better insights into their operations. Secondly, it is a mobile-ready client today. Today, a lot of employees are mobile. So they would like to access the information on their mobile devices or tablets because they are on the move. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 is mobile ready. It has mobile modern app framework which can be further extended with different workspaces, and it can help better engagement with your employees uh, uh, for doing their operations. The next is the integration with productivity tools. So this brings the benefit of increased collaboration within the organization. You with Dynamics 365 you have Office add-ins. So Office add-ins enable you to access the ERP data in these productivity tools. So it enables users to access the data, modify the data, and sync the data back into the ERP application using these productivity tools like Excel and Word. Apart from that, there are other ways also where you can use Power BI to visualize your operations in a much better way. The next reason for you to move to Dynamics 365 is reduced customization. If you look at Dynamics 2009 or 2012, so there are a lot of customers I have been working who have customized their solutions to meet their business requirements. But with Dynamics 365, I have increasingly seen that a lot of customers are trying to adopt standard because there are a lot of enhancements uh, at a functional level, which where customers are deprecating their existing customization and adapting standard functionality available in Dynamics 365. Because Dynamics 365 today supports various workloads for different industry, and also it has horizontal applications to address the core ERP functions required by any organization. The next reason is reduced hardware costs. So a lot of customers are today adopting cloud, and they have at least as a vision and as a roadmap, they have cloud in their strategy. Moving Dynamics 365 being a cloud ready ERP application, it makes sense to move your business operations onto cloud and leverage the benefits on cloud by reducing your capex and infrastructure opex. And another thing is you can stay secure on the cloud because it's Microsoft which is managing your infrastructure and provide security to your environments. Next, it can also leverage the elasticity of cloud as you grow in your operations and you go into the new markets. So you can leverage the capacity available on cloud and expand your operations beyond what you have today. You can also leverage a lot of applications, feature apps available on the app source platform, which will also help you adopt to various business processes that you plan to implement within your organization, because these apps extend the features available in the standard Dynamics product with new capabilities. Again, out of box, the Dynamics 365 as a platform supports high availability and disaster recovery. So again, this is managed by the cloud infrastructure and managed by Microsoft. You as a customer need not worry much on the high availability and disaster recovery. The last is the predictable implementations. So Microsoft has invested heavily in building the ALM tools so that your implementations are predictable. So all of these application lifecycle management tools are today available as part of lifecycle services or LCS from Microsoft. It's again a collaborative portal that helps you to manage the application lifecycle. So like LCS has a bunch of tools and processes which can help you implement Dynamics 365 in more seamless fashion and more repeatable fashion. So some of these tools are around business process modeling. There are tools to monitor your system health, and also you can leverage tools like task guides which help you guide the users as part of product training to speed the onboarding of users and drive adoption in your organization. So in summary, Dynamics 365 as a platform will help you drive operational excellence through intelligence business insights. It helps empower your business for success by enabling employees to deliver on business growth. And finally, it will delight customers through experiences to deliver on positive impact. Now let's take a look at the key constructs of an assessment exercise. So when you have, after you have looked at the benefits of Dynamics 365 and you have decided to move on and upgrade to Dynamics 365, let's look at the key aspects of moving to Dynamics 365. So some of the typical questions and challenges customers have are like this. So customers are looking at what are the business benefits if you upgrade. Should I upgrade or re-implement? So how do I have my licenses transition to the new cloud model? So and the other questions are what happens to my existing customizations. So these are some of the typical questions customers have when they are deciding to do an upgrade to Dynamics 365. So Dynamics 365 as a platform has significantly transformed. So the architecture has completely changed with the new cloud infrastructure, HTML5 client, and Azure AD for security. So if you look at the product has completely transformed to a new architecture. Apart from that, you need to understand the new concepts introduced in Dynamics 365 around projects, models, and packages. Uh, and finally, you need to understand extensibility because typically in traditionally in Dynamics AX 2009 and 2012, a lot of customizations you would have done would have been done using the overlaying model. With Dynamics 365, overlaying has been eliminated, and you need to adopt to the new extensibility framework, which is available in Dynamics 365. So the extensibility typically helps to innovate along with Microsoft and partners. So extensibility helps in isolation of your code and customizations with respect to the Microsoft standard application and code, and it helps in lowering the total cost of ownership because your extensions or customizations are isolated, so your upgrades become faster and cheaper, and it also helps this isolation helps in improving quality of the product. So some of the key constructs of an assessment exercise. So typically whenever you are planning to do an upgrade, we recommend that you do an upgrade assessment. So the upgrade assessment typically consists of two elements to it. One is the functional assessment, and the second one is technical assessment. So functional, the outcome from this upgrade assessment is typically a assessment report, which could be a functional assessment and a technical assessment report. So technical assessment typically looks at your customizations, integrations, architecture, and the overall upgrade readiness. Functional assessment looks at what are the kind of modules you have today, what kind of customizations you have, availability of documentations, and all of that. So some of the guiding principles for functional analysis is how can you maximize out-of-box feature or functionality. Suppose you have already done a lot of customizations in your previous implementation. When you are upgrading to Dynamics 365, I would recommend that you look at standard functionality, whether it can deprecate some of the customizations that you already have in your existing implementation. Second is with Dynamics 365, since it is very modular, you can start small and scale fast as you require. So for example, your business operations would have changed, and you as a enterprise and a customer have been growing. So you can start implementing the basic modules and keep adding functionality as you need, thereby enabling your overall operational efficiencies and automation of your business processes. Apart from that, you can also look at how you can consolidate some of your technology platforms. Some of the customers I have been working with, they had a lot of legacy platforms still integrated with the earlier implementations. So you can look at how you can leverage Dynamics 365 to make it as a single digital platform for all your operations, thereby deprecating some of your legacy platforms which enable some business functions earlier. Other than that, I have seen a trend where you can extend your Dynamics, where customers are extending the footprint of Dynamics finance and operations to other subsidiaries and other business units that they might have. The second element to the assessment is the technical analysis. So technical analysis typically looks at what are your customizations, what is the quality of your customizations in terms of code quality. It will look at your integrations because there have been a lot of changes in the platform around integrations and reports. So some of the typical tools we leverage, you can leverage for doing this technical analysis, is the upgrade analyzer and the code upgrade analysis service available from LCS. So you can leverage these tools to identify your to identify the upgrade readiness of your current implementations. So apart from that, Sonata has a code migration tool which can help automate the migration of older version of Dynamics to the new version. The tool supports code base from has support for following code base. It supports AX 2009, 2012, R2, and R3. We have seen with the leverage of the tool, we have seen cost and effort save cost and saving in efforts as well in the range of 20 to 100%, and we have been continuously updating the features of this tool so that we can improve the productivity while you upgrade your older code to the new Dynamics 365. So now I'll hand over to Pankaj, who will demonstrate the tool. So in the first phase of the demo, we will look through how you can leverage this tool to do a quick assessment of your existing AX implementation. So primarily this tool can be used for two things: to assess your readiness for upgrade, and second, you can also use this tool to upgrade your code from older version to Dynamics 365. Okay. Thanks, Ajmal. This is the environment where we have our tool. Okay, so this is our tool which we have built for estimating your current customization and migrating your code from the existing version to Dynamics 365. So in this demo, I'm going to the focus on the first feature of analyze. So this feature basically you can see as on a screen, like the analyze option, first option is there. So when you click on this, there is a few things which you need to have before you start the analyze of your existing code base. So the first thing that you should have is your environment. You should have a Dynamics 365 environment. So this is the environment where we already have a Dynamics 365 in place. So you need to, in the first section, you need to define the root path of your package folders. So this is generally typically either in the C drive or J drive. If you are in the Azure, usually in the J drive. So you should know that where is the packages. So you need to highlight the where is the packages. You can use the browse button to identify the where is the root package folder. Now, the second thing is when we are doing when we are analyzing the existing code base, the two things that we need to have. The one, that you should have the XPO file. So in our tool, what we are doing is because in our tool we are supporting from AX 2009 till 2012 all the versions which is available. So we understand that model concept they have introduced in the 2012 version. So in 2009 the model was not there. So we focus on the XPO. So the XPO is the one of the feature was available in the 2009 version and 2012 version. So we consider XPO as a base. So what you need to have is you must have a XPO file. So so you should have those XPO files which you want to analyze. So in our case, we already have some of the sample XPO file which we have placed here. So this is the XPO file which we are going to use in this demo. The second thing is you need to understand that in Dynamics 365, your all customization must be use the extension, and it means you must have your own package and your own model. So you must create your own package and model. So for this demo, we already have set the demo model. So I'm going to use this model. So this model basically, when you are creating, ensure that your model must have a reference of all the existing modules which is we are using in our customization. So this is just a message which will make sure that you should remember all these things. Okay, so we are done with this. Okay, so I think let me delete this. So this is the report basically. Okay, so you can see like here you can select the version. You have two options. Either you can use the 2009 or you can use the 2012. You can use any version of the 2009 and 2012 version for this upgrade analysis. Okay, now there is one more option is, do you want to when you analyze, you want to analyze the new and modified both, or you only want to focus on the one of the thing. We are going to use both the new object which you have freshly custom developed during the customization, or it could be possible that you have an existing object which you have modified. Okay, now when you are using the analyze feature, it will generate the report, and this report will go and sit in this particular place. If you want, you can browse and give the name of your file. It will generate the CSV file, and you will get some data in that CSV file. I will explain you what we have. Now in this tool we have two more features that we are using, because we know that Microsoft is focusing on the extension only, but unfortunately most of the code in the previous version you might have overlaid, which you cannot directly move to the extension. So in case if you have some overlaid code, you cannot move directly into the Microsoft model. You must need to create your own model in their package. So if you have any code which you can place in their package, you can create the model, and you need to map your model in this package. Just like in the application suites, they are the sales form letter class, and that class is having some customization which I cannot write directly move into the extension. So what we can do is we can upgrade it to the Dynamics 365 into our own model in the Microsoft package. Later on we can convert into the extension. So this features we have. Apart from this, we also have a custom mapping. Now this custom mapping is also required because from 2009 version to Dynamics 365, there are a lot of things which is changed or renamed. So we have feature here if you have done some things, or if you are using some of the new object and similar kind of object exists in the Dynamics 365 something. So you can download those template and define those mapping, and further you can upload it to consider while doing analysis. Okay. Now, if you have done with all these things, you are ready to go with the analyze. So if I will click on analyze, what it will do, it basically will go and start picking the XPO file from my package folder and start estimating. Okay. Now after this estimation is this process, it will give me a report. Okay. So it mentioned that your analysis is completed and your file is saved. So let me click OK. It will ask me to close the utility. Let me close the utility also. So I can get this CSV file. I can open this CSV file. So in this analysis report, what we will get some very useful information. And the important part is this tool we can use from AX 2009 to 365 direct upgrade as well. So they are the few things which can be very useful. The first thing is the conflict count. Now the conflict count is very important because it will help me to estimate that how much effort is required and which object can be moved directly. Okay, so you can see there are the certain type of object which we have. So there is a first section is this, and the second is you can also check the remark. So in this column where basically you are able to see the status. So success means these objects can successfully upgraded into the Dynamics 365, right? There could be some scenarios where you might not able to convert, or you might not able to upgrade. So in the next
column, it will tell that what is the reason behind it. Suppose we have a form and this form we cannot convert. Why we cannot convert? Because this form is having a sum of the Windows controls which cannot be migrated, and we have to look at those objects manually. Okay. Now there is another thing which we can notice in this report is that by default we support the extensibility. Okay, so when we are upgrading your code base to the Dynamics 365 from whatever the version, we always migrate your code in extension format. Okay, so here you can see that if it is successful and if it is delta no, means it will go and sit in your own package, demo model package and then demo model. Okay, so means it is a completely extensible, and you don't need to work any further on this particular object after this upgrade. Now the second thing is, it could be possible that you could have some standard classes which can be upgraded successfully, but if the data is yes, it means they are upgraded to the Dynamics 365, but they are having some kind of the overlaying because they are still residing into the application suites, but in your own model. So what you need to do is, some little effort is required to just migrating that object from your model to your own package and your own model. So it will help you to actually to identify that what are the efforts you required while doing those the upgrade, and it will also help you to decide based on your code base that whether you should go ahead with the upgrade or re-implementation. Okay, so that's it with this demo.
Okay, just to summarize, the upgrade or the code migration tool will help you uh, identify the conflicts while you are upgrading to Dynamics 365, and helps assess the readiness to move to Dynamics 365. The advantage with the tool we demonstrated just now is one, you can use this tool for any version of Dynamics AX20 2009, 2012 and different updates, R1, R2, R3. Then apart from that, this tool helps you isolate specific customizations. For example, if you have large customizations, but you want to leverage new capabilities in Dynamics 365, but you have some core business specific functionality which you want to upgrade. So you can just export those customizations and any dependencies into a XPO, and you can analyze only those elements. So moving further, so a typical work breakdown of an assessment like this. So if you look at the work breakdowns here, so it typically has two tracks, the technical and the functional track. Technical track is typically trying to understand your current customizations and the readiness of the code to upgrade to Dynamics 365. And the functional assessment track typically looks at your current business processes, looks at your current implementation, and it helps you analyze if there are any new capabilities or features you can leverage from standard in Dynamics 365. So as part of the assessment, we typically get an assessment report and a functional, both on functional and technical side, which comprises of a very high level fit gap and the recommendations and approach. For example, the recommendations could be the code elements which which are unique to your business, which you want to upgrade, and how you should go about doing a technical upgrade of those unique customizations. We also look at from a functional side what if there are any customizations which can be deprecated, and any new capabilities which can be used to enable the transformation journey within your business. So So in summary, so the assessment exercise typically is around understanding your business need and changing the processes. Looking at your technology, systems, customizations, and existing investment, and defining a roadmap for the upgrade itself. Now let's look at how do you go about defining the strategy for business. So typically when it comes to upgrade and when it comes to the budget, how to budget for an upgrade, typically there are a lot of questions asked, like what are the kind of business benefits the upgrade will bring to business, right? So a typical upgrade cost can be split into two. So the primary cost could be upgrading your existing business processes into one element is upgrading as-is processes to Dynamics 365, which can leverage the new technology stack on cloud. So this is one part of the upgrade. The remaining part could be justified by additional benefits Dynamics 365 brings in to business. For example, we talked about improved productivity. We talked about leveraging cloud, reducing your capex investments. We talked about a collaborative workspaces. We talked about leveraging standard capabilities and industry functions the product has today. So these are it's a twofold benefit. One part is getting your business processes implemented in Dynamics 365, and the second part is leveraging the additional capabilities the platform provides to engage better with your customers, employees, and your other stakeholders. So a typical business case could align to the new requirements which are future-proof, to see how you can leverage your current investments and upgrade to Dynamics 365, and look at your long-term cost implications through the investments that you make on this project, and how do you define a risk-free upgrade path to take your current implementation from earlier version to Dynamics 365. So these are some key elements when you are defining the strategy of an upgrade itself. So now let's look at what are the typical, what does an upgrade path look like. So a typical upgrade path has three pillars. So it could be after the assessment, once you have done the assessment, the outcome of the assessment will help you decide the approach for your upgrade itself. So when you are upgrading, there are three options. You either upgrade as is, which is a full as is technical upgrade of your existing implementation to Dynamics 365. The second could be re-implement. So many customers I am speaking to who are on 2009, they are always looking at re-implementation because there are no standard tool sets available to upgrade their existing customizations to Dynamics 365. This is one reason. The second reason is from 2009 to Dynamics 365, there has been a lot of functional changes, and customers want to remap their business processes to Dynamics 365. This is one of the reasons they are looking at re-implementation. The third option that you have is hybrid. So typically a lot of customers have investments in their existing implementations. So they have some unique customizations which they have, which are unique to their business, which are differentiators for their business. So they want to leverage the existing investments in the current implementation to be leveraged when they upgrade to Dynamics 365. So some of the tool sets we talked about can help leveraging those existing investments. We can upgrade those customizations selectively to Dynamics 365 while we re-implement some of the features or deprecate some of the existing customizations. So a hybrid model will help leverage existing investments while you get benefits from Dynamics 365 as a platform with the capabilities it brings in. So upgrade path typically starts with an assessment. We talked about assessment in the last phase, uh, which is technical and functional assessment. Once the assessment is done, you define the strategy, and the typical upgrade path starts with the analysis phase. So you may ask, why do you need an analysis phase? So analysis phase is typically to understand functionally, do a gap assessment of your current and to be processes in Dynamics 365. So you may decide to keep some of your customizations while you may identify gaps or implement standard functionality. Then you have to redefine your architecture with Dynamics 365 with lot of existing install bases of Dynamics 2009 and 2012. They are typically on-prem implementations of Dynamics. But typically when you are moving from an on-prem release to a cloud release, there has been significant change in the architecture and frameworks. You may have a lot of investments where you have integrated your ERP with your other line of business applications. So some of these have to be the way you have implemented security in Dynamics 2009 or 2012. That has to be relooked at. The way you have been doing reporting, you have created your warehouses, data warehouses, may have to undergo some change when you are moving to Dynamics 365. So that's the reason analysis phase is important to collect this information and also build a strong foundation before we do an actual upgrade. Then you go through the upgrade process itself, where you upgrade the current implementation and also re-implement any new features that you would like to improve your business. The last phase of the upgrade is typically a deployment where it's primarily a transition process where you start with training, user acceptance, provisioning and cutover and go live, where you move all your masters and data from your previous implementation to Dynamics 365. So a typical upgrade process consists of analysis, and we talked about the various tools that you can leverage from standard Microsoft. We also talked about the tool from Sonata, which can also help do the analysis. The second phase of an upgrade process is execute, where you do the conflict resolution. So whenever there is an upgrade, there are conflicts between your custom objects or custom elements with the standard product. Sorry. So you need to resolve that. The second task in the upgrade process is overlaying to extension conversion. So architecturally, overlaying is deprecated. The way you extend the Dynamics code using overlaying is deprecated. This is to allow continuous updates, product updates from Microsoft, so that you can leverage new capabilities in an ongoing way. So that's the reason this change. So you need to convert all your overlaid code into extensions. Then the third part is data upgrade. So once the execution phase is complete, you do validation, where you do a test pass, cutover planning, and upgrade validation. So we talked about the execute process and the various activities within the execute process itself. Now let's look at the demo of the tool where we take a sample code from earlier version to Dynamics 365, leveraging the migration tool from Sonata.
Thanks, Edmund. So in the previous demo, we did the analysis tools runs. Okay, so we run that tool. Okay, so so now this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate this code base XML like XPO file of the 2009 version to the Dynamics 365 with the Sonata migration tool. So for this, we are going to use the second option, migrate. Now we keep the screen pretty much similar. It will be easy if you know the one process. The second process will be much easier for you. So just like the previous process, we need to define the root path. We need to have our own model where we are going to upgrade the code. Now make sure your model must have a reference of all the existing things. So if you already done that, keep it okay. Now you need to know where is your XML files, XPO files exist. So you can browse that path. So our XML file is available in this particular folder. Now you need to define that, okay, which version of XPOs you are going to use for upgrading, because that is important, because the data model and the things was little different from the 2009 and 2012. So this is something where we need to define that. We can keep this both. Model mapping and custom mapping we discussed already in the previous demo, so it is almost same. So what we need to do is we just need to click process. So when we click process, what it is going to do is it basically will take all the XPO file and upgrade into a Dynamics 365. So what it will do, it create the XML and it will put it into your own package and own model. Apart from doing that upgrade, it will basically give you the report which you can keep it for the future run. Now there are the certain couple of objects which you cannot upgrade through this tool, and you might need to do the manual efforts. So for this you can get that information. It ensures that you will not lose the data. So we intentionally disable the close button. What we did, we force the customer to save the metadata XML, but it will actually help you to save that information and retrieve that what was the end result of this particular process. So for this process, I have a metadata information. Let me save on a desktop. So I'm saving that file on a desktop. So that file is there. I can later on, I can open this file again. But if you want to see that what we have in this file, we can also have a show metadata UI. You can click on that. And what it will tell you after the migration, that it will tell that you actually try to upgrade the 17 object. Out of 17 objects, the 14 were upgraded successfully. So there were some errors. Okay. Now apart from this, it will not only migrate or upgraded your things, it will also create the projects. So you can see that we have so demo model project is something which is completely extensible. And they are the second object, which is basically the available in application suites, where you need to convert from overlaying to the extension. And even if you click on this, what it will do, it will open the Visual Studio project for you with the relevant object, and later on you can work on this. So any developer can start working on that. So that's it with this tool. So you can see that number of objects which is upgraded is available here. And these all objects are, the upgraded to the Dynamics 365.
So you can compile these projects, fix any issues, compile issues that you might have, and take it, use it in Dynamics 365. You can create a package and publish.
Yeah. So the big advantage is it's reduce a lot of time, it's efforts of your upgrade, and especially like a new object, it will come directly take it to the extension in a Dynamics 365.
Okay, so thanks. So that's a quick demo on the migration tool itself, which can accelerate uh, your upgrade process by migrating existing code to Dynamics 365. So the final process of an upgrade is validation, where you typically do a quick smoke test using the standard capabilities in the platform. Then you do final steps around, so you do a full functional test pass, you go through a pre-go live checklist, and you do a final cutover from your uh, test or staging environments to Dynamics 365. So this was a quick overview of the overall upgrade process. A typical plan for an upgrade is something like this, where you start with some kind of a discovery or an assessment, and based on that you finally baseline the scope. So when you are baselining the scope, you have already done your assessment, you have already identified what existing customizations you want to leverage. You also look at if there are any new functionalities you want to implement as part of your upgrade. So as part of analysis, you baseline the scope, and if there are any gaps or new functionality you are planning to implement, you have a design phase for that. The development phase typically consists of two elements. One is upgrading your existing code and re-implementing any new features that you want. And finally, it goes through the process of testing, which includes UAT and provisioning and transition and cutover. So in summary, broadly the process is getting your assessment done right. Based on the assessment results, you can define the strategy for your upgrade. Thereby you can leverage with this upgrade you'll be able to leverage the power of Dynamics 365 and get the maximum results out of your existing investments. So that's all I had for today. We can open for any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Ajmal. And so the first question that came in was asking about whether SSRS reports will work in Dynamics 365. There was a brief answer given that yes, they will work, but is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Yeah, SSRS reports are supported on Dynamics 365, but if you are having any X++ reports, so those are deprecated in Dynamics 365. If you are having a lot of 2009 customers, we see have X++ reports which needs to be redeveloped. So some of the strategies could be you can redevelop this in Dynamics 365 as SSRS reports, or you can also leverage Power BI for some of that.
Yeah, and that was the one other question I had. I know we're at the top of the hour here, but there was a question, are Power BI dashboards integrated directly into Dynamics 365?
Yeah, so Power BI is very much tightly integrated with your Dynamics 365. So you can define your dashboards and have them visible in the workspaces in Dynamics 365.
Okay, thank you. Well, we are at the top of the hour here, and I don't see any other questions, so we will begin to wrap up. We do have a survey that will pop up after the session ends. If you could take a few seconds to fill that out, we would really appreciate your feedback in the audience. Ajmal, thank you and your team so much for presenting today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you all again for joining this session.
Yeah, I would second that. We have recorded today's event. We'll be following up with those details as well. And with that, we are going to conclude our event. Have a great day, everybody.